Okay, where do you want me at?
Boy, you do have to.
Right about here.
Right about here?
You know, if you didn't put the pants on, nobody would know.
I know.
And by that, I mean underwear.
I'm not a jackass. I'm not going to half-ass it, Jason.
Oh, that would be kind of cool for the show.
What? Nope. A pantsless show?
Mhm.
You got to come here.
Pants off, dance off.
Woo! I do not understand why he has to have his microphone like that. Well, it's Buddy's, but he does this weird straight at his face thing, which I don't understand. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
New hold potentially, blah blah blah. We don't want to hold. We don't want to hold inappropriate messages.
Squeakiest chair on earth.
I know, it's great, isn't it? You logging in, Monica?
Mm-hmm.
You actually probably won't have to do that anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it'll pop up right on the screen.
Oh, say something. Okay. Well,
If anybody's watching, nobody's watching
such a
yet.
dork.
Oh!
Yay!
Wonder if Buddy's daughter is going to jump on. Somebody's watching.
How you know?
Where does it say that? Oh,
See the
right
little
there.
guy up there?
Huh.
No.
Now they went off. Well, that was probably
This
me.
Oh yeah, shit.
You're
Well-
one fan.
Who's sitting next to me?
Should I put? I'll put my phone back on.
Will you close the door, Monica? He's going to give me some kind of an anxiety.
Is he in his-
Yeah, he's freaking out, and Reagan's probably not out there. That's when he gets nervous, is when the other dog's not out there. Is that gonna bang you? Banging you?
Mm-mm. I'm sitting on
Banging.
the edge of my seat.
Me too.
The
Because
one
of this
viewer
movie.
reminded me of I forget the name of the show, but this kid started up a podcast, but it was a font cast.
A font cast.
A podcast just about fonts.
Nice.
And he had one fan. So he would refer to his fan. I can't disappoint my fan.
Hey, Dave. Glad you could join us, Dave.
Dave's not here.
Oh. Dude. What the fuck is going on out there? He's a wreck. He needs like Prozac or something. All right, inmates. Are you ready to get into the goddamn strange color of your body's tears? Jesus Christ.
Based on title alone, this movie stinks.
It sounds like it could be interesting.
It sounds like a pretentious piece of shit.
It does, but you never, with a name like The Strange Body of Your Colors, your body's, I don't even fucking know. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. God. Rubble. I think he can hear us is the problem. I don't know. I don't care. I don't even care anymore. Fucking dog.
Nobody's expecting quality.
You're going to need a microphone, amigo.
I asked you.
You asked me?
I did ask you.
Well, somebody's watched.
I
It's
asked
just
you,
Monica.
and I ask you. Hi, James.
Hey, Jim's on. This movie won the Cloturtis Award. I think you're being funny, Jim. I don't know what a Cloturtis is. Is that
clitoris?
Cloturtis? Is that a French thing? It's got to be French, right? I don't know what I don't know who awarded this movie anything for that matter. Hey, Jason's in the house, by the way. Buddy, obviously we don't have. So I brought our old friend Jason, formerly 1/4 of the I Hate Your Face podcast. For what, 2 episodes, I think?
Unofficially.
So we've got some real street cred.
It
Actually-
was nominated.
For what?
If I decided if I was the company that backed this movie and
I
this
want my
guy
money back.
came to me, I would have said, "Stick this shit up your fucking."
That actually makes sense. Best
Penis
production
hole.
design. Stick it up your penis hole?
Yes,
Penis hole, she said.
I didn't want to
Remember that
say
comes
the
from
G
your
word.
There you go.
I like the one better.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, it's Jim. I don't know. It's French expressionism or some shit. It's artsy fartsy, is what it is. And I'm gonna do. Let's just get into it. Let's get this over with.
Pretentious.
Pretentious, fuck stain of a movie.
Yes, I concur.
Not to spoil the rest of the podcast, but that's right, inmates. We're talking about The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears from 2013. This one stars Klaus Tanguy, Jean-Michel Vovk, and Sylvia.
Deschamps.
Yeah. It's written and directed by Bon Vivant.
Bouvier.
I'm probably butchering that also. Came in at 6.2 stars on IMDb. That's a little high.
Rating of one person, the director.
It's because this microphone's not on, is what the problem is.
And you were yelling.
Let's take it from the top, shall we? It's The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears is what it is. And it's French, 6.2 stars on IMDb. I'm not going to waste my time or yours trying to pronounce who's involved with this.
Those are French stars. That's only half American.
Not even close. Not even close.
They're only like half.
I think they're like a quarter, maybe. Because I don't know.
Better.
I don't get it. Anyway, there's like the semblance of a story here, and then it quickly goes off the rails. So we start off with a guy getting off an airplane. Okay, easy enough so far, right? We all got that. Guy gets off an airplane. On his way through the airport, he calls his wife to say that he landed safely. His wife does not answer the phone. I feel like this is like an episode of Tales from the Crypt. Gets to his apartment, which I should mention is actually a very nice apartment in France. What do you think?
We don't even care about the apartment.
This is a Chartreuse award nominee.
They like the apartments, they just don't bathe.
That comes into play later.
Oh.
So there's that. So he gets to the apartment, and the little key chain, what do you call it? The door chain is closed. Mm-hmm. So he goes to let himself in. He can't get in because it's chained from the other side, right? Thus, his wife should be home, or somebody should be in the apartment. So he knocks on the door, bangs on it. Hey, honey, I'm home. No answer. Eventually, he breaks into his own apartment and sees that his wife is not there. She's missing. He then goes on about drinking quite heavily, and then goes down to the lobby of the apartment building and basically starts harassing all of his neighbors trying to find his wife. I thought that was like the funniest part of the movie, because he's just hammered. Where's my wife? Where is she?
She's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's French. He starts pushing the call buttons, I guess like in, to buzz other people's apartment. And he's like, where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my wife? Eventually somebody's like, come up to the 7th floor. So he goes up to the 7th floor, and there he gets into a conversation with an old lady whose husband also vanished in the apartment building as well. Yeah. Now, okay, that everything I just told you took up about a good hour of the movie. Okay, that's where we're at right now.
Sounds like a wrap.
In between all of that shit is a lot of very strange imagery.
Split
screens, jump cuts of an African American woman, I guess, being tortured, but then it's in black and white, so it kind of cuts to a Caucasian woman being tortured.
French? Is she African American?
French African, I guess. French African French.
These are the things I wonder.
I don't know. I don't know what the politically correct term is for French black people. But she's being tortured. She's like bound, and there's somebody with black leather gloves. Like,
do you remember in the 80s when that movie company on VHS would do a thing at the beginning, and it said, if you have heart conditions, or if you see this on the screen, the black hand, the black glove, they were like, stop watching immediately.
Halt. Go no further. Very strange, though. But we don't know what the fuck is going on, because we're just jumping back and forth with these jump cuts of somebody being tortured, or, it's French. They may not even be tortured. They may have paid for this service of being fucked with them. There's like a pair of scissors involved, and somebody's got black gloves on. So from there, we cut back to the guy who's now talking to the tenant on the 7th floor. She's an older lady, and her husband has apparently vanished also. So now we're going to jump right into flashback mode. So what do you think? 60s, probably? The couple on the 7th floor?
Just the old couple.
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
Okay.
There's several old. There's the majority of this movie, I should mention right now, is senior citizens, which gets very disturbing later on, starting right now, as a matter of fact,
Like
because
an erotic cocoon.
we're about to jump right into some senior sex, is what's happening, inmates. These two are banging like jackrabbits. They're in their 60s. What the fuck is going on in France? Do they have pharmaceuticals that we don't have access to or something?
Yes.
Okay. Regardless, maybe it's in the wine and cheese combination. Regardless, these two are having sex on a regular basis, and every time they do, they hear squeaking, screeching, something. They start hearing weird sounds from their apartment. So the guy eventually figures out that the sound is coming from the ceiling. And because this is a French apartment, everything in this apartment building is covered in murals. They were naked chicks, actually. That's why they're having sex all the time. They got naked chicks in surround all the time.
This doesn't sound so bad. Naked chicks, geriatric sex.
It's French art though, so they're like anatomically incorrect. The murals, it's weird. They're weird looking. So the guy's like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this weird screeching, squealing every time we have sex. He's pretty sure it's coming from the ceiling, so he gets up there with a stethoscope and starts listening to sounds of the ceiling.
Yeah.
All right. And again, this isn't really making sense because we're intermittently jumping in and out of sex to him with the stethoscope. So one could draw the conclusion that he's actually interrupting his sexual congress to get all investigative with the stethoscope.
Coitus interruptus.
Stethoscopius, I think, is the correct term. But
well, we don't even really know if he's having sex.
Well, he's on top of her, and they're
I know, but they're like flashbacks, like
the French sex. French fry.
Was the guy who starred in this the dude that played in House?
Looked like him, huh? Looked a lot like him. I don't think it's him though. Klaus something or other.
Oh, okay.
So eventually this guy gets even more curious and decides to drill a hole in the ceiling, about the size of a quarter, not a huge hole. And he's like looking around, like sticking his eyeball, like, hey, what's going on up there? He gets even more curious from there. And I don't know what the fuck is going on because it almost looked like he just teleported, right? Because 1 minute
through the hole?
1 minute he's looking up there, and then we cut to his wife who's laying in bed. And then she wakes up and suddenly her husband's gone. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she gets like hey, it's me, I'm up here. And then she looks through the hole and now he's staring down the hole through her, like looking back at her. Okay, so somehow he got up there, whatever that fucking place is up there. And he's like, oh, the previous tenants, they left a lot of stuff, huh? Give me a match, I want to see. So she hands some matches up to him and he's like, oh, starts walking around. Now she's on the stethoscope and she's following his footsteps around as he's exploring this ceiling chamber.
Next thing you know, a cathedral's roof is
On fire.
Yeah,
and now we're short Notre Dame. No more. So he's poking around up there. She hears weird steps up there as well. She gets on the stethoscope and she can hear somebody pull like a knife, like a shing come out. And then she's like, oh. She starts knocking on the ceiling and then she gets like yeah. And then like blood starts dripping down from the little hole that he made. Now, apparently this didn't warrant any kind of investigation. Nonetheless, she never saw or heard from her husband again, but that's just how that goes. And we're not going to ask questions.
No.
Because she's now got the apartment all to herself. Yeah. All right. So that's fun. And that's the end of our flashback, I guess. Right?
I thought it was the end of the movie.
No. Well, we're knocking on the door of the hour-and-a-half mark with that right there. Now, from there, we're going to cut to, well, he's still hammered and he's in this old lady's apartment, but we never actually get to see the face of the old lady, except in the flashbacks. All right, so now we're going to cut to the next morning. We're going to teleport there because he's just going to wake up as if this whole thing could have been a nightmare. Except when he wakes up, his wife is still gone. You can see the chain is broken where he broke into the apartment the night before. And now he's even more of a panic. And now his landlord is asking questions because he was harassing people in the entryway the night before. So he calls his landlord. His landlord, everybody in this movie looks extremely French, right?
Yes.
They've all got like greasy hair.
Giant muffs.
Well, that too. Well, I don't think we saw any muffs, did we?
No.
No, but they're all wildly overdressed, especially
Mhm.
for being a landlord in an apartment building. But the landlord comes in and
They all look like that actor from The Professional, right?
John
B.
Reno,
Yes.
kinda,
yes.
yeah. It's like a style of dress, you know.
Neck scarves, berets,
Neck scarf, exactly, for no reason, not even a dress.
striped shirts, black and white striped
Well,
shirts.
that's, I mean,
Like right here.
yeah, just like Monica. She's cosplaying the strange color of your body
That's a
too.
French geriatric.
Fits right in. So it's kind of strange. Hey, yo, Tom Hardy's in the house.
Ew.
What's
Hi,
up, Tom Hardy? Obviously, no Buddy tonight, sir, but I brought Jason in just to keep his seat warm, I guess. So from there, the landlord comes in and gives him a bunch of shit about breaking the door chain. And he's like, oh, your lease is up in a couple of months and you're harassing the other tenants. So he's like, yeah, sorry, I'm drunk. Look, my wife is missing. Does anybody give a shit? And he's like, I'm leaving. And then he leaves. And then he calls the cops. So they send a detective over, and the detective comes in, and we just get more moody horse shit. And we jump into another flashback because the detective comes in. He's like, hey, once a man called me about his missing wife, but she wasn't missing. It was murder.
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 It sounds like one actor's playing all of these parts.
It could. They all look the same.
Can you talk like that all the time?
I could if you like.
Okay.
Is that sexy?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm moist.
All right, this is getting weird. So the detective comes over and he's like, now we launch right into another flashback that has nothing to do with the actual story. All right, I don't know what this is where I kind of lost interest, but from what I gathered, the detective can't watch Bow, just wanted to drop a quick bit of support. Looking forward to. Oh, thanks, Tom Hardy. Thanks for
Catch
dropping
you
in.
later. What
Love you
movie
like
is
family
that
now.
one?
Catch you later.
Mhm.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right?
No.
What are you talking about?
Catch-
I don't know.
There was a stoner dude. Never mind.
All
I'll
right.
reveal it at the end.
All right. Anyway, so now we launch into a completely different flashback from this detective. Apparently, at some point, he was hired to follow a dude's wife that he thought was cheating on him. Naturally, he ended up, I think, falling in love with her, or somehow, at some point in this flashback, the detective guy got a blowjob, I think, right?
Did he?
There was a blowjob occurred.
Oh.
I think it was him.
Okay.
Again, they all look the same, and I'm not saying all French people look the same. I'm saying everybody in this movie looks the same.
I heard you say they all look the same.
I don't like French people. So we see that, and then like he shows he's like, I got a scar from the last time I took a job, and he's got like scars on his neck. And then we see this weird blowjob scene happening, and then we see a lady in like a red ninja suit, and she's got like 5 rings on her knuckles, but then she turns them around so all the jewels are on the palm of her hand, and then she gives like a
Wow.
on the neck, like a right on his neck, and I guess that's how he got the scar. So that would be interesting if that would come into play at any point later in the story. Last week it was a movie with a real director and real actors. This week, arty French film. I need a movie that I can watch in my trailer park while eating easy cheese and crackers. Jimmy, I love it.
Yes, James. Greasy Strangler.
This was not my pick, sir. And you can thank our friend Hammer over at the Patreon page for picking these fucking nutsack movies.
And Buddy for picking
This one is Buddy.
This is historically
Is not
a
here.
podcast not known for watchable films. So
I try to talk to him.
This is out of my hands. It's a Patreon thing. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I would love to help you out with that. I'll give you my Shutter password if you want. There's plenty of good movies there.
James needs to pick our movies for
He
next
should.
month. Yes.
Jim?
Mhm.
Well, next month's already taken.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, this flashback has nothing to do with anything. In fact, the detective is going to leave in about 3 minutes, and we're not going to see him again the rest of the movie.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
I don't know. I don't
Goodbye.
even know. So again, that's a good 20-minute chunk of the movie that has nothing to do with anything.
Mhm.
Okay. So he leaves. From there, we're going to get a lot of weird shit, man. A lot of kaleidoscope pictures, a lot of weird patterns just flying through the camera. When the detective is talking to this guy, his name is Dan, by the way, it goes into weird split screen where we're looking at Dan's eyes and nose, but then we're looking at the detective's mouth as he's asking him to, ooh, I have to answer a question. Yes, you have to answer the question now. But it's one face. I don't get it, man. I think this was just like a showcase for this director to show that he knew how to run editing software.
Or he had a few different lenses
There could be.
with kaleidoscopes taped to them.
Ooh.
All I can picture is Wayne and Garth doing.
Woo, woo. Camera one, camera two, camera one. It's stupid. All right, well, that's interesting. So from there, we're going to cut back to Dan, who's now still in his apartment alone, trying to figure out what happened to his wife. He starts looking around. He realizes that none of his wife's stuff is missing. So he starts going through her stuff, and he finds I guess they're hat boxes. Those big round
hat boxes.
They're either a hat box or she was a drummer, and that's where she kept her snare drum. I don't know. He goes through that, and he starts finding a bunch of weird kids' toys. So he's like, "That's interesting." And then from there, he finds okay, it's like a kid's drawing, crayon drawing of like a naked chick, like very well drawn though, big crayons notwithstanding. And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he flips it over, and there's a number 7 on it. So he's like, "Okay, this is a clue. I'm gonna go up to apartment number 7." So he goes up there and he starts knocking on the door. Just kind of lets himself in, and there's somebody in there that
looks like a cartoon drawing.
No, man, I don't. This movie is stressing me out. I'm trying to watch this movie so that I can tell you what happens in the movie, but I can't because nothing fucking happens in the movie. You understand that? He goes up there, and there's like a chick in a red ninja suit, sort of, and I don't know, man. I think she gives him like a drug that makes his mouth blue, and he I think they were starting to have sex, or there was an allusion made to maybe they were about to have sex, but then she turns into a glass, but basically a light bulb, right? More or less. She turns into a big light bulb, shaped like a hot naked chick. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to touch your boobie." And then she explodes into a bunch of broken glass. But then I guess another version of her shows up because they still have sex, except there's like broken glass between their two bodies as they're getting it on. So now he's got like all these broken glass scars on his chest. But as soon as this is over, wake up in his bed again as if it could have been a nightmare, except his mouth is blue and he still has all these sexual chest scars.
The Wrong Turn franchise is starting to sound a lot better right now.
It should be.
Thank you.
It should be.
In comparison.
Hi, Brianna. No, yeah, you're a little late, but it's okay. Your dad's not here anyway. Instead, I got your other dad, Jason.
Hey.
So that's very strange, and I don't know what the hell's going on in this movie. From there, he's like, "Oh shit, I don't really know what happened. I still can't find my wife." So he goes down, and the detective actually comes back for a few minutes, and he's got like the captain with him. So the detective and the captain sit down with Dan, and this time, Dan, like when he was hammered and he was in the entryway, like harassing people, he remembers a dude with a beard leaving the building. So he explains that to the detective and the captain and the landlord, who's also there trying to fix the goddamn door chain. They're like, oh, we need okay, maybe it was a guy with a beard. So they start going door to door asking everybody if they know of any tenants that have beards.
French people don't have beards.
No, this
They don't
one-
have those weird waxy mustaches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure there was some wax in there in the beard or some baguettes. I'm surprised at the lack of baguettes in this movie. I mean, it's a French film. Come on, people. Put a baguette in there, will you? Anyway, so they're going door to door asking about people about a guy with a beard. Nobody knows anything about a guy with a beard except for one couple who thinks that they've seen a guy with a beard coming out of somebody else's apartment. Okay, that's interesting. So they go and they try to talk to the people in that apartment. They're not home. So again, the detective and the captain tell Dan to go fuck himself. Are you staying awake?
Yeah.
Am I keeping you up? Monica's like, I don't remember any of this.
No, I can't wait to get just to the one scene.
Which scene?
The end.
The credits. It's the best part.
No, you know the scene with the knife?
Oh yeah, yeah. That part didn't make a whole lot of sense either.
Exactly.
But we'll get there. So interesting. Now, right about now, Dan is gonna go back downstairs and start going through the box with the kids' toys in it. And from here, we're gonna get a very bizarre flashback. And I'm not 100% sure what the fuck happened here, except that we cut to black and white, so we know it's a flashback. There's a young lady being stalked around her apartment by a guy in a trench coat with a knife. Now, I could be completely wrong, but it seems to me somehow she got in between the wall and the wallpaper, which is not an easy thing to do.
That's a skinny bitch.
And she's French. And I think the guy got in there too. That's not a good hiding place because you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. A big fucking thing inside the wallpaper, and she's like scurrying around like a spider, right? Trying to get away from this guy. He just cuts the wallpaper open and goes in after her. All right, scary stuff. He's got a knife. You can't see his face. So she goes into the bathroom and locks herself in. He starts banging on the bathroom door. This gets her wildly turned on, so she squeezes one out, which somehow, I don't know. It's French. It's French. It's fucking French. So she diddles herself, and when she comes to completion, 3 other dudes show up in the bathroom with her, and they look exactly the same as the guy that's chasing her, except they're on her team. One of them has a rope, one of them has a pipe, I think, and another one has like a knife.
It's like an erotic game of Clue.
You could say that, yeah, with beating off. So these guys are on her side. They let the intruder in, and then they kill him by stabbing him on the top of the head right here, which is an interesting way to stab somebody.
Yeah, is that even possible?
I would imagine so.
I mean, how strong do you have to be to penetrate the skull?
I mean, I'm sure you could do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we
Pull
try
the
it?
body out of my truck.
Could we?
Yeah,
I'd
let's see.
it's a good question. I'd like to know. So that's just fucking weird. Okay, so that's I guess it's a flashback, or so I don't know, because I mean, I guess I think that was what the idea that he got of what happened to his wife. Except I don't know how she's producing 3 dudes by masturbation.
She was having a gangbang.
Okay, then why
and
didn't
got caught?
then why didn't they come to her aid in the beginning when the dude was chasing her around? Why did she have to masturbate to manifest those guys?
Well, we don't know if she did.
I don't know.
We don't know if
I don't
any
know.
of this happened.
It's French. It's French. That's all I can say. It's fucking French. Expressionism.
This was an acid trip.
You're not
movie, huh?
understanding the director's meaning.
No, I'm not.
Clearly.
And if anybody did,
And
I
I'm
would
not
love to hear.
sharing it.
Oh, you know?
I'm not.
You
telling
know, and you're not going to tell me.
If you're too simple to comprehend it,
You should be wearing the tie, not me. So
I would.
that's what I felt like doing last night, trying to get through this movie. If you ever seen Daughters of Darkness, I have seen Daughters of Darkness, Jimmy, and that's a much better film. So from there, he gets out, he comes to again, I guess. I don't know, maybe he was in some kind of a trance when this came to him. Starts looking through the hat box again, starts looking at the crayon drawing of the naked chick, looks at the back where he saw the number 7, but this time turns it upside down. And now it's the letter L. Ooh.
Mm.
Oh, you fucked up now, Dan,
Is
because
that for love?
I don't know. No, it's actually for Laura, which I don't know. I don't know what Laura.
Maybe
So-
it's for let this fucking movie end.
So from there, we get more of the weird fucking flashbacks on the side. Now he's starting to hear sounds coming from his bathroom. So he's like, okay, what the hell's going on? I'm going to go look in the bathroom. Starts poking around in his bathroom. Here's the scraping and the
Mhm.
creaking. And he's like, well, it's coming from behind the mirror. So he kind of leans in, and then somebody starts knocking on the back of the mirror. So he's like, hey, what's going on here?
Candyman.
There's a guy with a beard behind the mirror. And this is where we get, I guess, the reveal that the building is very old. It used to be a palatial estate that was converted into apartments. And there are fake walls, right, that cover up the real walls, I guess. Basically, you can, if you know, okay, so the guy with the beard does exist. He's basically homeless, though. But because he lives in the walls of the apartment building, he's basically been living in everybody's apartment just when they're not there.
Like toolbox murders.
Yeah, or Housebound.
Mm.
Eugene,
Yes.
and Housebound, except this guy's
Just hiding out behind the wallpaper all night.
pretty much, yeah, and probably do a lot of beating off too.
Oh, that's why the wallpaper sticks.
Yeah.
Good technique.
You like that?
Yeah.
This is what I call fast and furious. So he's like, okay, your wife was killed and she was taken to the attic. All the bodies are in the attic, and that's where Laura stays. And
You
as
got what you want, Cohagen.
yeah,
Is that your next line?
I don't know, man. I don't know what you
It's
just
total
said.
Arnold.
Oh,
Total
did I go
Recall.
Arnold on you?
Yeah.
French Arnold, it's the same thing. So as he's, this reveal is happening, the guy with the beard behind him just mysteriously gets stabbed in the head, right on top, just like everybody else. So he's dead. We hear his body hit the floor, and he slumps over. Unfortunately, Dan's like, well, behind the wall? How do I get over there? I don't know. So he grabs a hammer and he just starts hitting his bathroom wall, making a hole in it. By the time he makes the hole is big enough for him to poke his head through, naturally the body's gone, and there's no sign of the bearded guy. So at this point in the film, we could draw some conclusions. Perhaps Dan's going crazy. Perhaps he killed his wife. I should also mention that throughout this entire movie thus far, just randomly throughout, we get more jump cuts to the 2 young ladies being tortured. But actually, it could be like 4 or 5 young ladies. One of them is black. There's 5 or 6 Caucasians. I think there was one of them was a senior citizen. Very strange. I don't know. Okay, whatever. So that's kind of weird. Dan's like, oh, fuck, I'm losing my mind. His phone rings. He goes and answers it, and it's, I guess, his work secretary, Dora.
I don't even know.
Somebody he works with named Dora. And Dora's like, oh, I can come over and help you. I will take care of you. And he's like, no. My wife's missing. I just need a few days off work so I can figure this out. And she's like, okay, I will be right over. And he's like, no, don't come over here. And then he hangs up on her. All right. Well, that's strange. What the hell Dora has to do with anything, we don't know, except we're going to find out. Well, not really. I don't know, man. I don't know what we're doing here. Anyway, he leaves from there and he starts poking around. He wants to go up to the attic because that's where our bearded murder victim told him to go to get more clues. Goes up to the attic, starts looking around, gets knocked out somehow. We see a lot of the black leather gloves, and we don't know who's wearing them, but there's an asshole in this building with black leather gloves, possibly killing people. And it's not a far-fetched conclusion at this point to think that it might be Dan because he's got a bit of a drinking problem and his grip on reality, little suspect at this point. So he comes to again. This time he's just laying on the floor in the entryway. Wakes up, says, "Oh fuck, what happened to me?" Goes back into his apartment where we get to meet Dora. Dora is his ex-girlfriend, and she's not naked, but she's in a nightgown, laying in his bed. Could have easily been his grandmother.
Is she the one that was saying?
We broke up 20
Yes, that one.
years ago. We
Okay.
broke up.
Level 3 clinger.
He was probably in high school. She was probably the principal of the high school he went to when they broke up. Holy cow. She is a very old, I don't
Yeah,
know.
She didn't age well.
No, and she did not look good. And thank Christ you broke up with her, Dan, and just hanging out in your bed in a nightie. And she's like, your wife is gone. I will take care of you. And he's like, nah,
Well,
no.
we don't even know if that happened.
I don't know if any of this happened, really. But eventually he gets rid of her and she gets to leave. She's like the only person to leave this place peacefully. Or at least we think we do, because we see him looking out the window and we see a female silhouette walking down the street. We have to assume that's Dora. All right, interesting. He kind of gets a couple drinks in him and he decides, I'm going back up to the attic to find out what's going on. And this time I'm going to take a flashlight in case anybody thinks about knocking me out again. So he goes up there, starts looking around. First thing he sees is like dead bodies everywhere. They're wrapped in plastic. A lot of them are hanging from the Raptors. There's
Raptors.
The Raptors, the Toronto Raptors.
This movie just got good.
I'm telling you, the whole NBA team is there in the attic. They're holding up dead bodies. It's very strange. I don't know what they're doing there. They're from the rafters, you fucking asshole. There's like blood dripping and stuff, and he sees the dead body of his, I assume is his wife. There's a brunette lady. He like looks at her face and does, oh, very sad. I assume that was his wife. I don't think we ever actually got to see his wife, so
No.
that could have been anybody, really. There's like a weird, what would you call it? Like a chest of drawers, like a vanity thing
Yeah.
up there, and it's covered in dust. He opens the top drawer, and there's a photo album in there with the name Laura stenciled across it. So he starts looking through the, God damn it. He starts looking through the photo album, and it's just pictures of chicks, like headshots. And then he starts looking at the dead bodies, and sure as shit, all the chicks that are in the photo album are swinging from the rafters behind him. So he's freaked out, and he's like, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to go call the cops right now. He turns around to leave and gets stabbed in the top of the head. Bing! And Dan is no longer part of this equation. Okay, now from here, things get even weirder, because we still got about a half hour left of this movie.
But do they get better?
No,
Christ.
no, they do not. Because for the next half hour, all we're going to do is see the landlord go up to the attic and start looking around. Now, I was under the impression, and they kind of got me with this a little bit, because I was under the impression that the landlord was the killer, because he took a very nonchalant approach to this attic full of dead people and murder memorabilia. And he's just walking around with his flashlight, and he's like, dead body there, there's one over there. Here's a scrapbook of murder, and that's pretty cool. And you're thinking, okay, well, there's your fucking killer. And then he turns around and he gets stabbed.
Right in the head.
This part is pretty cool. No, it actually goes behind here, and it comes out of his mouth. Ah! And there goes your landlord, and that is pretty much the end of your movie.
Wow.
Yay!
Man.
About an hour.
Please tell me there's a director's cut with extended
hour 43 on this bad guy.
deleted scenes.
You forgot to mention the scenes they kept re-showing to us.
Yeah.
Somebody had their legs open and they were stabbing her in the hoo-hoo area.
That. There's
I
that.
was like, who thinks of this?
I mean, is that what happened? Is that how his wife died? I don't fucking know. Or is that just what he is visualizing because he's terrified of that might have happened to his wife? I don't know, man.
Now, was this movie presented to you on a dare, on a challenge, with any insight as to how good or bad it was?
No. A list was provided to us by Hammer. Thank you very much, Hammer, for your Patreon donation, by the way.
Just a total random.
It's what
list,
he referred to as what the fuck movies. And
Yes.
this definitely falls into that category.
And Buddy could have picked any one of those movies on the list.
Greasy Strangler's on that one, on the list. We Are the Flesh, The House That Jack Built, other movies that I'm sure are
God
much
Told
better
Me
than this.
To.
Mother, with the exclamation point, which we already did. Monica, how did you feel about the strange color of your body's tears? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
I-
sorry.
Fucking hated this movie. I thought you guys were
Ugh.
messing with
I
me.
hate this movie. I didn't see it.
And the whole time I'm watching it and I'm talking to my husband on the phone and I'm like, you would not believe this movie. And he's like, okay, don't be negative. You're so negative. And I'm like, you don't even understand this.
I get the first probably 40 minutes. Guy's wife goes missing. I understand that. He can't figure it out because apparently she went missing from inside the apartment with no sign of a struggle. Okay, it's freaky. It's weird.
Just lost behind the wallpaper.
There it is. But I get why he's panicking and all that. After that, we jump right into abstract art land where it's just jump cuts of weird lighting situations, kaleidoscope things, and we don't really ever get any explanation as to what the fuck is. Why did we need any of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't ask me to watch artsy movies. That's not for me. I want
I think we've
dirt
all
bag
learned to hate the
movies.
French a little bit more today.
But
mean,
I
America.
will tell you this. You know the Shadow Man, when they showed the Shadow Man with the hat.
Yeah, when he was chasing the
I
chick
was
through the
like,
wallpaper.
That's what my Shadow Man looked like.
The trench
remember?
coat.
Yes.
Oh, oh, from your nightmares.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, there's my Shadow Man.
Well, you would think that would make the movie better for you.
No.
No? Does your Shadow Man have gloves on?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so next time
had
he
a
shows
trench
up,
coat and the hat.
right into the wallpaper. That's
I don't have wallpaper.
well, then you have to masturbate.
Hook a right at the bathroom and go to Diddletown.
You gotta squeeze one out. Then his shadow enemies will appear and defend you. Apparently, so I will be at your house later with my Shadow Man outfit.
That was so weird because after I did watch this movie and it was like
Rub one
getting
out.
dark, I was like laying in bed and the door was open to my hallway and I swear I was like seeing shit on the corner of my eye. I was like, okay, there's nobody in the house because my dogs would hopefully be barking and I'd keep seeing it. And I'd be like, okay, I'm just seeing things now.
Just masturbate, just to be on the safe. Better safe than
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, that's what I do. Intruder alert.
Where's that flashlight? Oh, it was a flashlight.
Woo! Oh, stupid. I will say this. It's a very visually appealing movie. A lot of colors, a lot of good cameras.
No.
If
Just once, can you admit you hate something?
I'm going, yeah, well, yeah, but not
Embrace the
this.
hate.
Not this one. I feel like if I took like some weird pills, I would probably be really into this. Yeah.
No.
No, not even with the pills.
No.
Or
Okay,
you'd
let
start
me
peeling
tell
your skin
you.
off.
Let me tell you. Compare this for you.
Okay.
What was that horrible David Lynch movie you guys forced me
All
to
of 'em?
watch? No.
The last
Eraserhead.
Eraserhead. That was bad.
That movie
Is that the
was
Blue Velvet guy?
better.
Yes.
Fuck him.
No, but I'm comparing it for you. That
Oh.
stupid dickhead hairdo dude was better than this movie.
That
Is-
movie's terrible.
I feel like you're probably right because at least with Eraserhead there was like
You got something.
you got nothing, but you could come up with something. You know what I mean? This at least had like the skeleton of a story. It just was all it was all out of order, and it didn't.
And French.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, inmates. It's
Is this why we don't carry Dan and yogurt anymore?
David Lynch is such a tool.
He is such a tool.
What does Dan and
And
yogurt have
fuck
to do? Oh, 'cause
Blue
it's French.
Velvet.
It's French.
This guy loves it.
I don't I like
love
Blue
it.
Velvet.
He does like it. That's
It's
all. he-
dog
I
shit.
like Blue Velvet and I like what's the other one?
Red
Wildlit
Rock
Heart.
Oh, that's the one you keep.
Is
Yes.
he Mulholland Drive?
Yes.
That's the only one I like.
Mulholland Drive's not bad either. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but Naomi Watts peels one out. That's an all right thing to see.
Bonus points.
Lynch movies often start out really great.
And then 10 minutes in, you realize it's a David Lynch movie.
Then by the end, what the hell did I just see? Yeah, Well, this is
I
pretty.
saw an hour and a half of my time wasted. Is what I saw.
I mean,
when
you
watched
could
this
say
movie.
you could probably say the same for Lars von Trier, right? Except they're a lot longer, and sometimes they have hardcore penetration. There's that, or genital mutilation.
Genital mutilation. Oh.
You make it sound like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet or something.
Full skins for everyone.
Oh, geez. All right, inmates, we're gonna take a little break. We'll come back with some other stuff, huh?
Yeah, something good.
Anything,
More foreskin jokes.
please regale us. All right, gang, we'll hang out for another few minutes if anybody has any questions or comments or anything.
James, did you watch this movie?
Don't watch it, James. You're not going to like it. I'm telling you right now. If you don't like David Lynch, stay the fuck away from this thing. It's bad. The premise
He
is
did
good.
not watch it.
is over it.
The premise is good. That's not. You're on the wrong paper. No, yeah, stay away from it, Jim. The premise is solid, but they just get too artsy fartsy. You can't tell what the fuck is going on. Or if there's anybody out there that did watch this and did enjoy it, I would love to know why,
God.
and I would love some kind of an explanation as to what actually happened.
Yeah,
here.
we want to know who you are.
Yeah,
You liked this
identify
movie?
yourself, you crazy bitch.
Hello, I am the writer of this film.
Oui, oui, bonjour, motherfuckers.
And the writer's gonna be like, I was high as fuck and I collected a paycheck.
That I'll buy that.
I was rolling around in wallpaper while dropping shrooms.
I swallowed some insulation. It's got a really weird feeling in my toenails.
I just imagine if a
Oh.
glory hole was on the ceiling, as a parkour extremist.
That actually makes a little bit more sense than what we just watched.
He got sucked through.
That's what it was, and then he couldn't get out.
See?
You know what movie topped this like 500 times was Beaster Day.
Oh,
Yeah. At
You know
least we
what?
had a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, you're right. I will take a ridiculous movie that just knows it's ridiculous
Mhm.
and just fucking giant bunny for Christ's sakes, as opposed to this artsy fartsy horse shit.
Yeah. The giant bunny that had the same move.
Yeah, it was a South Park cartoon. It was like, if you haven't seen Beaster Day, watch that before you watch The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears.
You guys will like
or Andy
Beaster
Lynch
Day.
movie.
There's big boobs in that movie.
There is a lot of boobs in that movie. I don't think there were. Well, there were boobs in this one, but it was like
You know
a
what?
super
Were they all
close.
painted like Easter eggs?
No.
That'd be funny if they
No,
were.
I
but
know.
Jesse did ask me, he's all, is there boobs in this movie? Is that why Darian picked this?
I did not pick this. I do not take responsibility for this one. There are boobs, but they're not really spankable because they're like in extreme close up to where you're like looking at a full screen nipple, one nipple.
I kind of did think the old lady did it. Like when she
Well, she's
was
the only-
bitter.
She's the only person left in the apartment building that isn't dead, right? That didn't get the
No.
head stab.
She the one in the red suit?
The red ninja?
Yeah.
No. No, she turned into a light bulb
Yeah.
and shattered. The lady is the one whose husband, right? Is that the old lady you're talking about?
Mhm.
Whose husband died or disappeared. And I don't know. She at the end of the movie, she's the only one left because Dan's dead. Landlord is dead, and
I'm surprised you know everybody's name in the movie.
really, I just remember Dan. He's the only one that was identified.
Dan.
Dan
That's not
Christensen.
even a French movie. I mean, French name.
No,
Dan.
yeah,
Dan. Yeah, you can't even like French it up.
no, you can't. Dan. It's just Dan.
Don't watch it.
No.
Do not watch it.
All right, guys, we're gonna kill this feed. Thank you for joining us. Tell your friends. We need 1,000 subscribers so we can go back to the old.
Right around the corner.
I'm telling you, 996 more, and we are golden.
Yeah, what do we have to do?
She already took
Create
her
a
top
bunch
off.
of fake accounts. Duh.
Yeah, we'll get him naked.
I'll
for
do
all
it.
you ladies
Sure.
out there.
You don't want to see. You'll subscribe to make me put my clothes back on. I would love to get Buddy naked for you, but the motherfucker doesn't show up anymore. Sorry, Bree, that your dad's not here. By the way,
With that
I'm
beard.
sure she really liked hearing that.
I know. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Breezy. Well, she just logged off anyway.
Oh, good.
All right, guys. Podcast will be up later tonight as usual. Thank you very much for joining us. What do you think for next week? Should we pull up the list? Pull up Hammer's list. You want to do the Greasy Strangler? We're doing the Greasy Strangler.
Tutti Frutti Disco Cutie. Tutti Frutti.
Bullshit artist.
Have you seen it?
Oh.
Oh my God. It is so hilarious.
I'm gonna pull up.
Is that the one? Oh, that's the one with Trash Day.
No, that's Garbage
No.
Day. You're thinking of Silent Night, Deadly Night too.
Oh, okay.
My favorite scene is the vending machine scene.
Yeah,
Can you tell me what those chips are?
we could
made
do
of?
Bag Boy Lover Boy. That's actually not. It's another weird movie, but it's not bad.
No, we're gonna do a good
Yeah,
movie
okay.
for this one.
Killer Condom, Naked Lunch, Antichrist. No more Lars von Trier. The Exterminating Angel.
Wait, let's see how many people we get to tune in for the Greasy Strangler.
Okay,
And then that'll tell you.
we're doing the Greasy Strangler next week. Next month we're doing a whole month of Joe Bob Briggs movies that he's covered for his weekly show.
We should do
Well, at
a
least
shot of
that's-
Grease
That'll be
too
good.
for the
Widespread.
viewers.
Yeah. No, I mean just for his new Shutter show. So as of right now, it'll be Cue the Winged Serpent, some selection thereof. Cue the Winged Serpent, Chud, Society. Woo! What else?
My chunky
Yes, he
brother
does rule.
loved that movie.
Society?
Yes. I don't know why.
Well, he's your junkie brother. That's probably why.
Can we have him as a guest?
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
I wanna
we will have such a good
I
time.
want to confirm some of these stories of yours. Join us next week for the Greasy Strangler and possibly Monica's junkie brother. All right, guys.
If he can find his teeth.
Bye,
he'll
everybody.
be-
Do I want him in my house? Is this a guy that I want knowing where I live?
No, he won't even
Okay.
remember where we drove to.
Oh, you're going to drive him and you're going to take him out of here when the show's over. All right, inmates. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.